Hi everyone.
Hi everyone. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Tammy.
And we are the physiotherapists from the neuromuscular clinic from children from Schneider Children's Hospital here in Israel.
So what we want to do today is just give you some background and some knowledge on how we follow up on Dushen and Becker children here in Israel, in Schneider. We will talk about the physiotherapy treatments in the boys in 4 age categories. We have the younger boys, which are ages 4 and under, the ages 4 to 7 years, 8 to 12 years, and then the non-ambulant boys. And we'll also give some points on the supportive care and an introduction to the neuromuscular clinic here. So why physiotherapy? As physiotherapists, we're all about function and participation. So it's very important for us to help the child reach the maximum functional potential and help him preserve that function. We'll work on prediction and prevention of problems which may occur due to the deterioration of the disease, such as respiratory deterioration. We'll talk about it in a few minutes. Of course, range of motion maintenance. In the beginning, it's mostly the ankle joints, and after, when the disease progresses, other joints. And also during the entire time, we know the families and we go with them and give them information. We're all about educating and instructing them to keep an active daily living as much as possible, and of course adapted to the child's impairments. So before we get to this age group, 4 to 7 years, the younger age group, which is ages 4 and under, like mostly we see them around 1.5 years, 2 years and later. It's usually kids that will be with a developmental delay. They will reach and achieve the milestones like other normally developmental children, but it will take them time. And it is important to work on it to help them reach jumping, running, stairs. So of course, we don't want them to be too tired. We'll talk about it in a minute, but it is important to help them get there. So in ages 4 to 7 years, we keep on helping them achieve appropriate motor functions, which is static and dynamic balance, like standing on one leg, jumping, running, and stairs. We're talking about the range of motion preservation. What is important to say that also from the young age, also from 2 years or under, even though the problems in the range of motion don't occur in these ages, but it is important for us to educate the families to start stretching in a really young age so that the child will get used to it and it will become a part of their daily routine. So like they brush their teeth every day, they will do their stretching every day, so that when they will get to the point where they will have a problem with the range of motion, they will get used to it, that every day they do the stretching, which is very important. And of course, guidance and instruction all along the way for the parents. You should be advised that no matter what exercise or activities the child does, we do not use external resistance like weights, and the weight of their body is more than enough. And another thing which is very important is that we don't want them to get too fatigued. So we don't do a lot of repetitions in exercises. And this is important because if we do get the child to be too fatigued, it induces the muscles wasting, which we don't want to happen. And of course, all along the way, we emphasize the participation, that the child will be a part of his friends, family, and whatever place he is, school, kindergarten, wherever he is. So in this age group, 8 to 12 years, we want to postpone the minute they will start sitting in a wheelchair. So we want to preserve the current functional abilities and help it to postpone it. We want to prevent the acute deterioration of range of motion, because what we see is that when a child starts sitting in a wheelchair, so he doesn't stand and doesn't walk, so the ankle range of motion of dorsiflexion starts to deteriorate, and so we want to help stop it. And we, of course, encourage active daily living as much as possible, adapted to the child impairment, like we said. Also here, no external resistance, don't get them too fatigued, and of course, emphasize participation.
Okay, so the other categories is the non-ambulatory children. We can divide them into two subcategories. The first one is the children who are just beginning this phase and are still can walk for a few meters at home and can stand alone or with very little support, usually at home. The other subgroup is the children who are in the wheelchairs for a long period of time and cannot stand by themselves or cannot even walk or do the transfer. They need help. So both of the groups, we need to maintain range of motion for every joint in the body. That means the upper and lower extremities. For the children who are in the first subcategory, that just beginning to sit in the wheelchair, we want to emphasize the very important the importance in walking at home for a few times a day, a few meters each time, in order to maintain bone density and, of course, ankle range of motion. We can also use the standing frame, as you see in the picture. It can help us also in those kids and the children who are sitting for a long period of time, but still has good ankle range of motion and knee range of motion. They can stand in this frame for about 20 to 30 minutes, and it's gonna be also good for them for their lung function. Of course, we want to maintain activity, active function, upper limb body. It's very important. So for the respiratory aspect, those children who are starting to lose active function and are also most of the time sitting in a wheelchair, we want to start as soon as possible respiratory physiotherapy as active as they can. What usually we do is give them the tree flow for inspiratory and expiratory exercises, but you can also use other instruments that are can help them breathe, can help them breathe, can help them breathe against positive pressure, okay? And it can help them improve lung function and other functions. The cough assist we can use when the children are having problems secretion clearance and the cough is very weak. The BiPAP and the cough assist, we need pulmonologists to give and approve treatment. Okay, we can't do it by ourselves, the physiotherapist. So we have also supportive care. The first one is the rest splint. Okay, we want to prevent loss of range of motion for the ankles. So we usually put them during the night for both legs or one leg at a time. If it's difficult for the kid to sleep the whole night, you can just put them during the day for 2 to 3 hours, but you cannot walk with them. It's not safe. Okay, so the kid needs to sit or lie, and you just can put them for 2 to 3 hours a day. Every day, it's very important, every day. The second thing is the hydrotherapy. It's very important. We can see it in Israel. It's very good for the kids who cannot walk because it neutralizes the gravity. So it can help them walk or stand even with support. It can also improve balance. It can improve lung function because they can swim, they can dive. So it can help them in all ages. Okay, so physical activity. Yes, we want to do fun activities with the family, with their friends. Yes, we want to invest in the energy of the active itself, and not, for example, going to the playground. If he's very tired, you don't need to go to walk there. You can take him by a stroller or by the car, so he can have fun in the playground. We say yes to bicycles. It's very good for the endurance, but it's try to avoid getting up hills. You need to stop before getting fatigue. As Tammy said, not do a lot of repetition, and of course with no weights. And stop, so avoid overdoing it. So just walk with them a few minutes a day, a few times a day, but not a whole hour. In the cognitive side and the aspect, we can see that a third of the patient have low IQ. They have a lot of impairments like ADHD, learning and communication impairments, and also have developmental delay. We can see that those impairments are not in direct correlation with the severity of the disease, and it doesn't progress with the progression of the disease. All of those impairments can affect the physiotherapist's ability to assess the kid. So it's very important to have also the family,
Family's input.
Family input, yeah, okay.
So what do we do in the clinic when the child comes to the multidisciplinary neuromuscular clinic here in Schneider? The main issue here is to put everything, all the appointment the child needs for the follow-up in one day, so he doesn't have to go back and forth. They will see the neurologist, pulmonologist, they will see us, the physiotherapists, a nurse, dietitian, social worker, whatever the child needs in one day. It's a busy day, but it's good that it's packed in one day. So what we do here, Tanya and I, in the follow-up, we start with an interview, which of course we emphasize the child and his function in his surroundings, in his school, in his kindergarten, to see how he manages and if he's able to participate and be as equal as possible to his other friends. We do the North Star. It's a North Star ambulatory assessment. We'll talk about it in a minute. And we do the time test, which is getting up from the floor, which gives us an idea of the Gower sign, and the 10-meter run. And these are also, it's an important test because in a lot of studies, we use these to assess the child's function. We do stairs, also timed, the ascend and descend. We evaluate the muscle power with the manual muscle testing. Of course, range of motion to see that it's okay and not deteriorating. We do the 6-minute walk test, which is also a gold standard test for Duchenne. And for the non-ambulant boys, we have the performance upper limb, which focuses on upper limb function, because usually when they become non-ambulant, so they cannot perform the North Star or the time test. So it focuses on function from proximal joints to distal, because it's important for us that also for the really weak children, which are non-ambulant and they're weak in their proximal muscles, that we can have some evaluation of the strength in the more distal parts of the body. So the North Star Ambulatory Assessment Scale is a gold standard scale for assessing the mobility and function of the Duchenne and Becker children. It's compiled of 17 items. Each item can be scored a maximum of 2 points, so the child can get a maximum of 34 points. The time tests are also inside these items, the 10-meter run or the time to stand, and it focuses on lower limbs function. So we have it here. It's a bit small, so I don't know how much you can see, but it has walking, standing on one leg, a jump, a hop, getting up from the floor. So 17 items, and it gives us a good idea of how the child is doing, and in the continuation, how his disease is progressing. So in conclusion, I think we hope that we made it clear that we are all about function and activity, and we say no to being sedentary. I mean, of course, if the child sits in a wheelchair, we'll help him be active in other ways, because we can be adaptive and creative, so the child will be as active as possible.
We also emphasize the function and not the quality. We want the kid to be as function and active as he can, with no regards to the quality of the movement or the activity. And of course, stretching every day, from the young age, as Tammy said, till the
All the time.
All
Ages.
All ages. It starts in the ankle, but then you can do the wrist and the hips and the knee. But it's very, very important every day.
It helps preserve the function.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
So thank you
very much
for listening. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome.
Yeah.